got something new in for the Rost RM1C. Now this gun is clear, no mag, nothing in the chamber. Now if you look at this setup that I got on the Rost, I've got the Gideon Optics rock on here, and the iron sights now are pretty much useless. The dot is up pretty high. So what we're going to do, we are going to attempt to put the new R3D 2.0 green sights on from XS Sights. Now these are for the Springfield, the Hellcat, the XD series, and the Rost is supposed to have the same cut for the sights. So let's get these sights out. Let's see what all we've got in here. We got some Vibratite. I have not tried this stuff yet, but we're going to try it today. I think I'm actually going to try it on the optic. We got a sticker, and we've got a card here. It says to leave them a review, and basically what we've got here, QR code to scan, and all the features of XS Sights. If you want to pause that and read it, go ahead. Now this is the second review we've done with XS Sights. We also put a set of these on the Walther PDP Pro, and this is the packaging they come in. Basically you press in here, open them up, and there's your sights, and there's your Allen wrench. Alright, so let's get a close look at this rear sight. There is the back, and there is the front. Here is our front sight. Alright, now this is the tallest sight XS makes, and holding this up, it's going to be close if that's going to co-witness or not. Now I do have a rear sight built in to the back of the rock, so worst case scenario, we should be able to use the rear sight on the dot with the new front sight. We're just going to have to see. Now, being that we are on YouTube, it sucks because I can't actually show you the install of these sights. I will roll in some pictures of what I'm doing. We are going to be using the Real Avid sight pusher. I do have to remove the optic, but it is what it is. I can only show you so much on here. Alright, there it is. We got our sights on. So, I want to warn you now, the front sight from Rost is a nightmare to get off. I actually ended up using a punch. I used my 3/32 punch and my Cobalt hammer, and it took quite a bit to get it off. Now the rear sight pushed off pretty easy, but the new sight, I didn't even have to use the sight pusher. I was able to actually shove this in with my thumb. I did put Vibratite on it and tighten the Allen wrench down, so we're just going to have to see how it goes. Hopefully it holds. Now we've also run into one other issue, because Rost does use a optic plate. The rock is actually sitting too high. So if you look at the profile there, the very back of this sight is about even with the dot because the base on this is so wide. Now, because the Rost Martin has the backup iron sights built into it, I am able to use the rear sight with the new front excess sight. It's going to be kind of hard to see, but I am not able to use the excess sight, rear sight with that. Now, if we go with the Holosun 507C, it actually has a little bit thinner base, so you are able to co-witness the rear sight with the front. Just barely. That's what you're going to get if you want to go with, say, the Holosun. You'll be able to just grab that front sight with the very top of the rear. So I'm in a little bit of a dilemma here whether or not I want to leave the Holosun on it and be able to just barely use the rear sights with the front, or put the rock back on it, which is what I want on it, and I'll be able to use the built-in irons on the back of the rock with the excess front sight. Alright, I decided to go ahead and put the rock back on it because this is what we did the review with. I really like this optic on here, and I don't plan on the optic failing, but due to the fact that it does have that backup built-in iron sight, I'm able to pick that front sight up. So I think this is my best option. Now, if you decide to go with the Holosun, which doesn't have a backup iron sight, you're just barely going to be able to see that rear sight with the front sight. So keep that in mind. So at the end of the day, the Springfield sights work, but the back sight is pretty loose. We're just going to have to see if the Vibratite and the Allen wrench keeps this in place. We'll go out and shoot 100 rounds through it or so and make sure this is all going to stay put. The front sight is nice and tight. You're not going to have an issue with that. But even though these are the tallest sights excess sights has, due to the fact of the plate system that Rost Martin uses on this, you're not really going to have a really great option when it comes to backup sights unless you run a dot that has the backup iron sight built in, and then you should be okay. So it works, but it's not perfect. I think it'll get us by, but in all honesty, I probably could have just not installed the rear sight, just put the new front sight on, and then use the backup sight on the rock. But they're on there, it works, everything fits. We'll just have to see how it goes out at the range. Alright, I wanted to show you how bright these excess sights are with the lights off. They are super bright. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one.